Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. It is my great honor to introduce to racing stakeholders from various countries the very unique ways of how Japanese racing pop culture has penetrated to public. I hope my presentation will spark the interest of as many of you as possible. Yes, right. My name is Toshihiko Nishiyama, and I'm working for Mitsubishi Research Institute, MRI, a leading think tank in Japan. At MRI, I manage the business consulting division, mainly providing consulting services to private companies. And I have engaged in numerous consulting projects related to horse racing industry, including the JRA. I, myself, a big fan of horse racing and have become a member of Racehorse Fund before. In addition, influenced by my elder sister, who is now a Japanese manga artist, I have always loved manga and anime since I was a kid. So today I'm more than excited to be able to talk about horse racing pop culture. By the way, the illustration on the slide was drawn by my sister to celebrate my family's wedding anniversary. Right? Well, here are the topics I would like to share with you today. Examples of content in racing pop culture in Japan, the values they create, and the impact they have had on racing fans and the racing industry. Okay. First, let me introduce general Japanese manga culture. Japanese manga is now very popular, not only in Japan, but also in other countries, and has had a far-reaching influence. You may have heard of One Piece, Naruto, Pokemon, and maybe Dragon Ball, all of which have become big hits in other countries as well. In Japan, manga is more than just entertainment. It is also a medium that deals with a wide range of themes, including social issues, philosophy, and history, and convey profound messages. For example, Osamu Tezuka's Astro Boy, from the 1950s to 1960s, is a science fiction manga hit that deals with coexistence of technology and humans and makes us think about the progress of science and technology and human ethics. In addition, the manga that have become so popular has been derived in various forms, such as TV anime, movies, and merchandise, making Japanese manga one of the highlighted culture of Japan, loved by general public beyond national borders. From here, I would like to introduce horse racing pop culture in Japan. There are 4 cultural categories into which horse racing has penetrated: manga, video games, anime, and merchandise. Let me first introduce the evolution and trends. In the late 1980s, charismatic top racehorses and jockeys appeared and gained nationwide popularity, triggering a horse racing boom amongst the Japanese masses. This led to the emergence of many manga series about horse racing. At the same time, as video games that deals with racing became widespread in households, playing such games grew into a common pastime. The 1990s saw an increase in cross-media projects, in which the same title could be simultaneously enjoyed in different media, including anime, manga, and game. Another notable characteristics of Japanese racing pop culture is that merchandise featuring not only anime and manga characters, but those related to a real-life race horses and jockeys are also very popular. Example includes plushie, representing champion horses and racing silks worn by top jockeys. Now, I would like to introduce some example of racing pop culture in Japan. The first example is Umamusume Pretty Derby. Since the start of the project in 2016, Umamusume Pretty Derby has gained wide recognition and popularity, mainly among the younger generation, through its wide-ranging developments in smartphone games, anime, and manga. The characters inherit the names and the legacies of real horses who aspire to achieve winning in a race called Twinkle Series in a school setting together with their peers and trainers. The storyline is based on a true event that took place in real-world horse racing. It has succeeded in not only emphasizing charms of the characters and gaming elements, but also bringing out the entertaining aspect of sports stories. Moreover, because the story takes its motif from real-world race horses, it has triggered unprecedented changes in customers' behavior, such as sparking interest in breeding areas and also attracting donation to support retired race horses. Okay, here are some scenes from the Umamusume game. See how the character dynamically run on the turf like track and field athlete through the screen.
年末の中山で争われる夢のグランプリ有馬記念。あなたの夢、私の夢は叶うのか。このレース、最も人気を集めているのは二冠馬娘オグリーキャップ、一番人気です。満を持して連覇に挑みます。続く2番人気は成田ブライアン、注目の東海帝王1枠1番での出走。
火花散らすデッドヒートに期待しましょう。
ゲートイン完了、出走の準備が整いました。スタートです。各馬娘揃って綺麗なスタートを切りました。
これは位置取りが熾烈になりそうですね。内から来るか外から来るか、最後の局面です。
東海帝王、ここで抜け出した。先頭は見合ったまま。これは直線勝負になるか。中山の直線が短いと後ろの子たちが間に合うか。東海帝王、負けられない負けられないぞ。東海帝王、足の衰え残り200。東海帝王、リードは3馬身。先頭は必ず東海帝王。これは強い。2番手争いは成田ブライアン、ダイワスカーレット、後ろに突き放して東海帝王、今勝利です。この子にかなう馬娘はいるのか。夢のグランプリを制したのは東海帝王。年末最後の大一番を制し、栄光のセンターの座を手に入れた。2着には成田ブライアン、3着はダイワスカーレット。
Okay. Next, the second example is a video game titled Derby Stallion. This video game focuses on breeding and training of race horses, inviting players to enjoy raising the fastest horse ever, while immersing themselves in the reality of the racing world. It was released in 1990s as a simulation game for family use and became the rage of the times. Starting off a home video game, then adapted for PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and other game consoles. The title still remains popular after more than 3 decades. Yes, this is a screenshot from the latest version for Nintendo Switch.
最高名誉日本ダービーが間もなくスタートです。 としました。17頭ほぼ揃いました。まずは先行は先頭、少し差が開いて2番プロディガルさん、4コーナーから直線へと向きます。さあ真っ向勝負、3頭が先頭を争いを奪えない。400番手はジェネラーレウーノ、少し開いてリアムスティール、北サンブラック、後続を突き放してゴール。
Yes, you can enjoy such high-quality racing videos and other features that makes the racetracks realistic to a detail in this game. The third example is Midori no Makibao. Midori no Makibao is a popular manga series published during the 1990s on Weekly Shonen Jump, one of the most popular comic magazines for boys. It was also broadcasted as a TV anime series. The magazine was targeted at young boys who had nothing to do with horse racing, but the story caught the heart of the readers by effectively featuring the entertaining and captivating aspect of race, such as by vividly depicting the nail-biting moments right before the winning post, as you can see the slide. The story also reflected the real-world situation of JRA racing, which has contributed to raising recognition and the deepening understanding of horse racing as a sport. Okay, the fourth example is a work of manga, the Yushun no Mon series. Taking material from Japanese racing, many episodes of the series have been published since 1994. Set in JRA, the story depicts the journey and friendship of the protagonist jockey and his horse. While experiencing various events and interacting with other jockeys, the protagonist sweeps the Japanese racing scene and eventually makes his foray into international races. The series realistically renders the drama and interpersonal relation in the racing community. As you can see in the drawing, the artist depicts the thrill and the speed of horse racing with a realistic touch. Yes, these are some original drawings of Yushu no Mon. They were originally hand-drawn by the manga artist, effectively combining the thrill and the dynamism of horse racing. Finally, as example of horse racing related merchandise, I would like to introduce these plushies representing race horses. This kind of adorable plushies are often seen in Japan, even on streets. Cute and fluffy plushies are popular merchandise sold at race courses, online shops, game arcades. I too used to collect them when I was a student. While they look alike in basic shape, the horse color, facial marking, mane, mask, and the saddle represent those of specific real-life race horse. Looking back into the history of these products, a plushie of Ogre Cap, a racehorse with overwhelming popularity at that time, was released in the 1990s and became a smash hit. There are also items bearing the motif of racing silk worn by jockeys, such as T-shirts shown on the slide. Various merchandise have been developed for racing fans, which has become a new means to express their support for the jockeys or racehorse they're especially fond of. In addition to the fun and excitement offered by each of the horse racing pop culture content, I believe that they have created the following values. First, they raised general awareness of such concepts as breeding, training, racing, and grading. Secondly, they spread knowledge and interesting anecdotes about horses and people related to horse racing, as well as the nature and the characteristics of horses as an animal. And thirdly, they created new ways for fans to support and show enthusiasm for their favorite racehorses and jockeys. Well, how has horse racing pop culture spread among Japanese public, and what impact has it had? To understand the answers to these questions, we conducted a questionnaire survey to 2,000 people living within Japan. This chart shows awareness rates by generation for major horse racing pop culture content. Derby Stallion, which became a boom in the 1990s, and Midori no Makibao, widely enjoyed through voice comic magazines and TV animation, marked high awareness rates in age group from 30s to 50s, who were in their 20s when the two contents were at their prime. Meanwhile, Umamusume is widely known mainly among the younger age groups, and the difference in awareness rates between age group is relatively small, indicating that it is well accepted across a wide range of age groups. The next figure shows responses to a question asking why the respondents who actually enjoy the contents decide to watch, read, or play it. The rate of those who answered because the characters of the contents were cute, or because I like manga or game, anime, was higher than the rate of those who answered because I like racing for all the content. This tendency was particularly significant in anime, manga, and game content, such as Umamusume and Makibao. The survey results suggest that the appeal of the content itself and public preference for pop culture have a large impact on their choices. For those people who actually watched, read, or play horse racing content, what impact did this experience have on how they related to sport of horse racing? Of the relevant respondents, 18% answered that the experience of enjoying racing pop culture lead to an increased frequency of wagering. Those who answered that their level of understanding, interest, and the liking of horse racing improved reached around 40%. This shows a positive impact on the way a public think about racing, which is one step before the action of wagering or visiting at race courses. Another significant finding is that around 30% of the relevant respondents developed interest in retired race horses and breeding areas. It shows that the pop culture has been one of the triggers that have allowed widespread interest in the world of horse racing, including retired horses and breeding regions. The tendency is particularly notable in the younger age groups. The result for younger respondents can also be characterized by a larger impact on their increasing interest on topics such as retired race horses and breeding areas, rather than on wagering or visiting race courses. Racing pop culture in Japan spread among not only horse racing lovers, but other people who are fond of pop culture, such as manga, anime, and games, which as a result has a positive effect of reducing the psychological distance between the racing industry and the general public. Right? We also conducted a questionnaire survey with 32 young trainees who will work at the farm. Most of the survey respondents, that is 30 out of 32, answered that they used to enjoy racing pop culture before they decided to seek a job at a farm. When they were asked about the influence racing pop culture has had on them, more than half of all respondents say that it was opportunity to learn about racing, or it inspired my love for horses. Furthermore, more than 40% of the respondents answered that they learned through pop culture content that they're interesting careers to pursue at farms. Many respondents cited positive influences they personally experienced, such as, I learned the basic fact about race planning and the racing system, and I started watching films of races held before I was even born. And I was surprised that racing could so deeply move people's hearts. These are testimony to how racing pop culture is having a positive impact on young people by inspiring them to work in the racing industry and helping them gain knowledge after entering the racing community. As you know, one of the major issues in the international racing industry today is the welfare of retired race horses and securing of human resources to work in the industry. In Japan, JRA and other organizations are actively engaged in the measurements such as support programs for aftercare of retired race horses, and events and seminars to introduce the work at farms. But we hear that still be a challenge matter. Well, what do you think? Did the information help you understand the unique aspect of horse racing pop culture in Japan? Finally, I would like to quickly summarize my presentation and convey my message. As you can see in the figure, content in the racing pop culture in Japan not only offered fun and excitement, but also opened the door to new knowledge and stories about horses and people of the racing community, as well as the nature and the characteristics of horses. Such knowledge in itself lead to enhanced recognition and understanding of horse racing and contributed to expanding the fun base by increasing the likability and general interest in the sports. Furthermore, cultural contents also had positive impacts on the people who support racing as an entertainment industry by inspiring young people to work in the community or support retired race horses. Behind the enthusiasm of Japanese racing lies not only racing as wargering, but also a thick foundation of culture that has been formed through pop culture. Pop culture has played a major role in helping racing fans understand various elements, such as thoroughbred pedigree, birth, breeding, training, racing programs, the drama of each racehorse, jockey, trainer, and owner, the structure of track surface, and the beauty of the thoroughbred. Horse racing is not only for the races that takes place at race courses, but also exists in our daily lives. it may be said that a notable characteristics of Japanese racing. Going forward, I would like to see the development of variety of racing pop culture content and diversification in approaches to enjoy the sport, driving an increase in fans and those who take part in the community. In short, I truly hope more people would become interested in horses and discover what beautiful animals they are. Pop culture in horse racing may never be created or controlled by horse racing organizers themselves. However, it was a great honor to speak in front of horse racing stakeholders of the world. I hope you found my presentation informative for further developing horse racing culture back home. That is from me. Thank you for listening. Merci beaucoup.